I'll kick off with a short video and talk you through.
I never give anything without expecting something in return. I always get paid.
You think I'm married? You just take the money. You think I'm married? You just take the money.
What a great intro. Great video, and it shows how people are actually using the mobile phone over the course of the day, and how you can actually connect these guys over their journey. So I'm going to talk to you about moving with mobile. My name is Zac Pinkham, and I'm the Managing Director for Millennial Media. So we, as a company, work with brands and agencies alike, and partner with publishers, and run successful advertising campaigns across the board by using some technology and creativity and the rest of it. And execute successful campaigns around the US, around EMEA, and also APAC. It's great to be here today. Amongst the other speakers, there's some great content, and wonderful to be here with leaders of media, an event considered to be the Davos of advertising. We as consumers are moving between screens, places, and devices. And as marketers, it's our job to work out the best way to engage consumers as they move across the day at different times. And as the medium evolves, technology helps bring the moments together, giving lots of data, huge amounts of data, and people are continuously talking about the amount of data that you've got online, and then think about all the different bits of data that you can actually pull from a mobile device itself. What makes mobile the linchpin to consumers as they move? Well, mobile is immersive, it commands your attention. Although it's very small, it's very personal, engaging, and unique. And if you use these characteristics and use all the data that's available to you on mobile, and then execute some clever creative, you can execute some very clever campaigns that really immerse you. And here's a lady in a shopping mall in the US who was engaged in some sort of creative, so much so that she fell into a water fountain. Bless her. Listen, it's a cheap laugh. It's late on a Monday, so thank you. Mobile's become the most compelling channel for understanding consumers. It's all about reaching the right audience at the right time with the right content. The average person, the average smartphone user, is accessing their mobile device every 6 minutes, so 150 times a day. And a lot of you will say it's phenomenal, but I've just seen 3 of you pull out your smartphone. So I challenge you as the audience, if you see anybody else do that, point at them and shout FOMO. Anyway, continuing the buzzword bingo analogy, mobile firsts is being bounded about in this conference, and it's great to see more and more brands actually putting mobile at the beginning of their comm strategy. Just to understand the audience that is here, how many people have actually run any sort of mobile campaign from a brand or agency standpoint? Perfect. There's about half a dozen of you, so that's great. People get the why of mobile. IAB are continuously talking about the who's and the hows, and people are continuously utilizing their mobile from the minute you wake up in the morning all the way through to the last thing you do at night by setting and stopping your alarm clock. And the IAB forecast suggests that in 2013 alone, there's more ad impressions served on the mobile phone than there was on fixed line. So everyone kind of gets the why, and I think the market has now evolved past this, so much so that it's more about understanding consumers' behavior and what they're doing on the various screens rather than the single device on itself. And I'm going to come on and talk a bit about that during the presentation. So whilst it's great to see half a dozen of you guys working in mobile, there's still loads of brands who are yet to embrace it. Mobile can be perceived as a very tricky medium. Thinking about the size of the screen and the formats and the devices. People focus so much more on the device rather than the actual person using it. And I think you need to focus much more on reaching the right person rather than the device itself. So when you think about that, how that person is using their device over the course of the day, as we saw in that video, rather than sort of just comparing, matching luggage, what somebody does online shouldn't just be replicated and put onto mobile. The native functionality of the mobile phone is so different to the fixed line computer, where on the fixed line you have the screen and it probably has a front to back camera, but think of all the different functionalities that you could do on your smartphone, from using the accelerometer to using the voice, and I'm going to come on and give some examples. Also think about the home screens on your fixed line, which are Google or Microsoft or Yahoo, versus the mobile home screen, which is so different because everyone's got a different variety of apps on their front screen. So it's very hard to replicate. So a great example of understanding the person behind the device comes from a campaign that we did for Dunkin' Donuts. And this basically gave free coffee to Eagles fans. So Eagles, for those of you who don't know, is an American football team based in Philadelphia. And this campaign was quite broad in terms of its audience targeting. It was 18 to 49-year-olds, running targeted to Eagles fans within an area of a mile squared outside of the stadium itself. And basically, any time the Eagles won, the people who downloaded the app would then go and get a free coffee at the end of it. So it drove very high engagement rates, as you expect, by leveraging their love to their local football team. But understanding consumers personally, as they move between places and moments, is more than an opportunity. It's a responsibility, I believe, for marketers to adapt and move with mobile. So just how do marketers understand the audience that they move from place to place and moment to moment? Data is a huge opportunity. There's vast amounts of data out there. And before smartphones and tablets became so powerful, connectivity between people and moments were very much scattered. So it's really helped them bring them all together. Now we're at a stage of sustained connectivity. This always-on lifestyle is driving the volume of data that we process every day. In fact, by 2017, the data from mobile alone will be enough to fill 350 million 32-gig iPads, which is colossal, a fitting term, no less, from the city that we're in today. So data being generated by mobile is so valuable. Just think about how we use the right creative to ensure we're communicating effectively on the back of the data that we're getting. And with the latest technologies, we're now able to use this rich data too. So in short, data is enabling us to understand what it means to connect to consumers, and it's also doing this through three important attributes. Number one is pinpointed audiences, which I'm going to come and talk about. Number two is breakthrough creative. And number three is real-world measurement. So what's relevant to consumers changes throughout the day, the month, the week, the day, and even the hour. With mobile marketers are able to determine when and where they can reach consumers, increasing relevancy to the individual. So the thing that connects all these moments together is location, and it's creating deeper engagement than ever before. New technologies are helping brands to reach defined audiences in specific places by leveraging data such as real-time location, cross-screen as they move from device to device, and also demographic profiling, including age, gender, household income, language, education, and many more. But by using data to map audience relevance and to inform and deliver meaningful messages marketed for real moments, it's good to understand what those moments are, and they can be anywhere. So anywhere from accessing new content. We're all downloading more apps via the App Store and using our smartphones and tablets to get immediate insight in terms of questions or data that we're looking to answer. The amount of people who are using photos, 80% of all smartphone users now use their smartphone at least once a week. From doing selfies to using them at award ceremonies, if you can actually match these moments with all the data that we've got on that I was talking about before, you can start to really engage and immerse the audience. We're all guilty of this. Whenever we have 5 minutes to talk about, 5 minutes dwell time, we'll all pull out our game, which is on our app, and it's everything from Angry Birds through to Supercells, games, and all the rest of it. And everybody snacks on these kind of devices. So never be perturbed from working with a gaming audience. There's a huge amount of this mobile audience on there. And if you can start to build up the data on top of it, it's a great way of targeting your audience. And then lastly, it's making those big purchasing decisions. I've done this. I'm sure you're all guilty of doing it when you go into a tech store and you're looking at the latest speaker system or TV, and you actually want to see if it's the price that you want to be buying. So again, using these kind of moments along the way is very valuable to targeting your audience. But the question is, how do we take all of this new info and technology and use it to tell a story? So imagine if you wanted to target somebody who was in the market to buy a car. Traditionally, you'd place a TV ad during a TV ad on a popular motoring show, or buy a banner on a online automotive portal. But what's more powerful, someone who's browsed a car enthusiast's mobile site, or somebody who's actually been on a garage forecourt twice in that month. By taking the location of the actual device and matching it to a point of interest database, we can understand far more about that user and then layer on top of the location as well as those points of interest. So a great example of this comes from a campaign for Ernest Young. They were looking to reach a specific audience, business and accounting majors at 56 top universities. And it was targeted, to 2 miles radius of the campus. And it basically drove this audience to on and off events, driving them to recruitment events to sign them up for years to come. So brands switched onto this will be able to gain competitive advantage by responding to every data shift, continually refreshing and identifying audience segments when individual interests, activities, and needs change. If you know where these people are and where they're going to go, you can tailor your creative so much better. And also, think about the creativity. Our message is simple when it comes to this. It's do more with mobile. There's still some marketers that say that mobile screen doesn't present the same opportunities as TV and online when it comes to engaging consumers, focusing on its size rather than its functionality. So this couldn't be further from the truth. I think that mobile ties together so many features, from voice to touch and accelerators to vibration, connectivity to location, and everything in between. As consumers move with mobile, think about the content being consumed between these moments, and then try to think how you can actually take advantage of these. Whether that's using tactile gestures like pinch or swipe, have you ever thought about asking a consumer to kiss their phone, to kiss their screen? So Maybelline did this really well, where the user would kiss the phone, and they'd have 2 different touch features, which then triggered the sensor to then vibrate, kiss you back, and then show you a different shade of lipstick colors, which was a great success, driving innovation and also engagement. The camera is also a great one to look at, and think about the native functionality of how you can embrace a camera. So that the creator on the left is Call of Duty, and they were there to recruit Call of Duty soldiers by using the front camera on your phone to take a photo of you, to superimpose it within this figure here on the left-hand side, to then share with your friends via Facebook, whilst integrating and allowing the user to go through to buy and also engage with the creative itself. And the one on the right-hand side, which I'm not sure what's happened to it, in fact, I'll leave that, is, I think, every man's biggest fear, and I don't think anybody has seen this one, but the Tiffany campaign, where you use the back camera to actually take a photo of your hand and superimpose wedding rings and engagement rings on there. So works really well again, great engagement, and the rest of it. And then think about how you can use your phone. Phones, we always talk about phones and advertising, but nobody talks about using it to phone and using the audio element of it. You can now start a conversation with your phone by engaging with Siri, so the voice-activated product. And instead of going to a rich media format and clicking on the different links, you can actually engage and communicate with your phone. So imagine, automotive brands and holiday brands are running a campaign, and instead of clicking on whether you want a hot holiday or a cold holiday or a sporty holiday, it starts to ask you, and you engage back, and then it sort of takes you down this funnel to where you want to go. And then lastly, storytelling on video, by bringing the power of storytelling to the most intimate device that we own. And there's an opportunity for some really impressive results. Most brands have got some sort of video content. And there's a great example here on the left where Club Med are running and kind of creating that emotional feel via video, whilst the background is synchronized in the back, so you can actually engage with the video and also go into look more into the brochure itself, into Club Med. We all know about Guinness's content. They make fantastic TV spots. And you should think about how we can actually embrace those TV spots and then layer on top geo-targeting, so you can understand where your nearest pub is that serves Guinness, and then share with the friends and create that whole social viral element. So the last attribute I want to talk to you about, which is arguably the most important, is measurement. Measurement is one of the most important issues in mobile today, which everybody is focusing on at the moment, and has moved from an experimental part of the media to much more of a strategic. So remember, mobile is inherently different than all forms of advertising channels, and this means there's actually metrics which are only available in mobile. Hot topics like targeting, programmatic, RTB, which just been mentioned before, and also video, are helping to demonstrate the effectiveness of mobile to marketeers. The next step for marketers, however, will see measurement move into the physical world, allowing advertisers to track conversions beyond the mobile itself. So let's start by looking at cross-screen. You may remember at the start of the presentation I referred to a recent report by ComScore, which said the majority of consumers are multi-screening, accessing sites on mobile or desktop. In fact, 2 out of 3 online adults are cross-screening currently. So the thing is, and as an industry, I think we're guilty of getting caught up in terminology when talking about consumer experiences. Consumers don't think of second screening, omni-screening, or cross-screening. They just do it. They go wherever they need to on the most convenient devices to that person. For an advertiser, this can cause an attribution problem, because unless they're confident that the same user saw their ad on every device, they can't be sure which ad was the one which actually moved the needle. But how do we identify and track consumers when they aren't actually logged in? So with the right tracking in place, it's possible to show the impact that a mobile advertisement has had on a consumer's online behavior, and eventually we'll be able to tie everything up together to provide a holistic view on the impact of a single mobile ad across the entire purchasing process. So in addition, many consumers use their phones when they're away from home and on the move, and the 24/7 nature of mobile presents an interesting opportunity for advertisers. If you're a retail brand, imagine being able to run a campaign and then see the metrics on the impact of physical foot traffic from clicking on a banner into your store, or on the total amount spent at a point of sale. So we're starting to see this and working with third parties who are starting to give us that data. So we're using data to match people rather than devices. It becomes possible to build a lasting relationship with your customer and a richer understanding of them. And consequently, brands have an opportunity to use mobile to close the loop in new and powerful ways. So really just to recap on the presentation today, the key points I think and the key takeaways are, number one, remember people move between screens, places and moments. Mobile is telling an important story about consumers, as they move between these moments. Your brand creative and experiences must adapt and move with them in order to engage your consumers. Always target audiences, never devices. You must deliver a personal experience if you're to truly engage customers. Understanding them personally as they move between places and moments is your responsibility as marketers, and that brings us to point number 3, which is data without insight is useless. The important thing is how you turn this data into useful information. Data tells a story, and a story about your audience. So this data with mobile at its very center is creating a powerful new opportunity, starting with pinpointed audiences. So with mobile, marketers are able to determine where and when they reach their consumers, increasing relevance to their target audience at the moments that matter the most. And breakthrough creative, think about the native functionalities of these devices. From swipe to voice, from video to location, these native functionalities mean that the stories you tell through mobile should be about using these more than the actual placement itself. And then lastly, the real-world measurement, leverage the metrics out there that are only available in mobile currently. Use data to match to people rather than devices. And it becomes possible to build a lasting relationship with your customer as they move between screen, places, and moments. There's my details, so if you do have any questions and you want to ping me an email, please do so. Thank you very much.